So I just got the new iPad Pro M4 and it's completely decked out. I'm going to give you guys my first impressions coming from a first-time iPad buyer user. And unfortunately, I have some buyer's remorse. Let's dive in. Okay, so this isn't a clickbait, nothing like that. This is my honest review coming from a first time ever iPad user. I'm not joking. This is the first iPad I've ever bought and the first iPad I ever owned. I really never used them. I got my wife an Air for her birthday and kind of played with it a little bit, but was never really an iPad user. I never really got it. So obviously, this is not a video sponsored by Apple. I wasn't invited to the Apple launch. I'm not giving you guys, a scripted review. It's not even really a review. It's more of a first impressions, but it's a bad first impressions. And if we're being honest, I'm probably never going to get a chance to work with Apple like ever after they see this review. But it's the honest truth of how I feel coming from a professional, someone that bought the Pro because it's a Pro and it's supposed to have professional qualities to it and allow you to do professional work. So what do I mean by professional work? Well, obviously I want to be able to do video editing on this thing. I want to be able to do some photo editing. I should be able to run a small business, connect to my server, connect to our NAS, be able to check remote editors' work and be able to give feedback and things like that. I really envision this device being a complementary device to my laptop, not replacing my laptop, but complementing it. And it doesn't even do that. It falls short. And I'm going to get to the negatives in a bit. And I promise later on in the video, there's some positives. So if you want to hear the positives, wait until the end of the video, but we're going to start off with the negatives. I envisioned myself editing on my main computer during the day, during the work hours, and then at night when the kids are off to bed, they're sleeping, when I'm sitting down, relaxing on the couch, I have my iPad with me and I'm able to do some final touches or maybe review an editor's work or reach out to some clients, maybe even do a little bit of script writing, taking some notes, and all the little things that come with running a small business, running a small production house. So that's my background. You guys have the full background now. I truly have buyer's remorse. Okay, so Apple is notorious for doing weird things. So I'm not going to do a full unboxing, but I am going to do like this partial first impressions unboxing. The pencil and the keyboard is self-explanatory. If you want to go look at an unboxing video for that, knock yourself out. But for the actual iPad itself, I was relieved to find that they, in fact, included a cable and a wall adapter. So, with Apple, it's kind of weird right now. You never really know what you're going to get. For the price that I paid for this thing, yeah, there should definitely be a cable and a wall adapter. They got rid of the stickers. I don't care about the stickers. Okay, so now what's my gripe? Remember everything that I said in the intro or the beginning of this video, my intended use for this iPad? Well, none of that works. My main gripe with it is it's definitely a capable device. I mean, they are advertising this new M4 chip. Without a shadow of a doubt, the new M4 chip is more than capable. The OS is absolute garbage. I just don't get it. I don't understand why people buy iPads, and honestly, this kind of reminded me why I never bought one in the first place. This thing feels completely neutered, castrated. You have this really powerful, capable hardware that's running on essentially a phone OS. And the OS really, truly feels like another version of your phone. It doesn't feel like a pro operating system that allows you to do pro things. Might be different if you're an artist or if you're coloring, drawing. I'm sure there's plenty of apps that work with the iPad. But as far as video editing, even photo editing, it's definitely not a pro feature. It feels like it is being limited. The M4 can do a lot more, way more than what it's currently doing, what it's currently capable of doing, but it's being blocked because of the OS system. My biggest gripe is with Final Cut Pro, at least currently. I've had this thing for about a week now, and off the bat, number one, Final Cut Pro for iPad it's a joke. All of the features that you need are not there. For example, if you want to do some simple adjustments, where are the color wheels? Those are all gone. It's like the weirdest GUI. It doesn't flow. It doesn't feel very good. You can't even bring in some of your third-party plugins. I can't even bring in my audio presets, my microphone presets and things like that because of certain things that I use that now are not capable. Put it this way, you can't bring anything in from your Mac. If you want to bring in a library or a project or whatever, forget it. The iPad does not communicate with the Mac version. However, the Mac communicates with the iPad version. So my original idea of doing the majority of the work on my computer during the day and then while I'm relaxing at night, putting in some finishing touches. So that's actually backwards. I have to do the majority of the work on the iPad first. And God knows what I can actually accomplish with the thing because it's so limited. And then whatever I can't finish or that wall that I hit because of the limitations of the device, I have to finish on my MacBook. So essentially, what you can really only do that's logical and makes sense, at least to my workflow, is do a rough cut of everything. Cut your timeline, get your basic timeline there, and then maybe if you want to do some animations, which another reason why I bought this thing is I want to use a pencil. I want to start drawing and animating some things on the videos. Maybe do that, but kind of guess how it's going to come out in your head, and then you can import it to your Mac, to your computer. It's just bonkers. They have to do a lot of work on Final Cut Pro to get them to talk to each other, to make it actually a pro level software and productive. So that's kind of the theme that I want to go with. This thing is not a professional productive product. It's more of an entertainment device, an extension of your phone. This is something that you would use when you're relaxing at night, kicking back, and you want to watch some Netflix or surf the web or maybe answer a couple of emails or go on Facebook or TikTok or something. It's not for serious video editors like myself or someone that wants to run a business and remotely connect to networks and NAS devices. You can do that. I can connect to a server, but it's very limited. And that's my main gripe with it. So I don't want to dive into Final Cut Pro completely. I feel like that deserves its own video. So I'm going to save that for another day. But this should kind of give you guys a feeling of where my mind is right now. I mean, honestly, if I did want that, right? If I wanted this for entertainment purposes, go get the Air. The Pro is not a pro level device. That's just my opinion. Okay, so I know that was a lot of negativity, and I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm certainly not trying to offend Apple. I'm not trying to shit on Apple. I think Apple makes great products. I think they're a little confused, or they have a lot of work to do on the OS side. And when you have something like DaVinci Resolve that already came out with application for iPads that pretty much seamlessly works with the desktop version, and you can switch and swap between them, Apple should have no excuse by now to get Final Cut Pro ready. And I know some of you are going to say, hey, give it some time. It's new. I agree with you. I mean, that's kind of why I'm on the fence right now. I'm not sure if I should return this or wait. The other thing that's coming up really soon is supposedly there's a major event that's coming up where Apple usually does their software and firmware updates and, has big releases in that aspect. So there's some rumors that are saying because this thing is so capable, Apple's going to be launching a new OS for it, or they're going to be doing something to kind of bridge that gap. And that's honestly what I'm kind of holding out for right now. I'm hoping that's true. But there's other people on the internet that make a great point. I mean, there's people that have the M1 that have been waiting years for Apple to make it more professional, to change the OS and quit kind of handcuffing the iPads and all the great hardware that they put into it, and they still haven't done it. So should I hold my breath? I don't know. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Am I just kind of being unfair at this point? Are you guys waiting? What do you guys think of Final Cut Pro? Should I return this thing and just get an Air? Okay, so I promised you guys some positive stuff. So let's dive into the positive stuff. First and foremost, it's an Apple product. It's done extremely, extremely well. Let's start off with the pencil. The pencil's brand new. It's now called the Pencil Pro for the new iPad Pros. They added some cool things, they added some cool gestures and more sensitivity. It definitely feels really responsive, but one of the new features, a cool feature, is the squeeze feature, which brings up a menu and you can now have quick access to certain menus, change your brushes, things like that. Now, the way that I understood it, because I haven't owned one of these before, they kept the double tap feature, which now basically when you're in a writing mode or you're in a drawing mode or something like that, you're scribbling, it allows you to quickly change between the eraser, which isn't on the back for some reason, and the point, right? Whatever pencil, marker, whatever it is that you're using. Very strange, because I've had tablets before. My first tablet ever was my Surface Pro, and that had an eraser, so you just flip it around, and I don't know. I kind of like it though, because I just double tap and I don't have to flip anything around and I can erase, so I've gotten used to it. Love that feature, the squeeze feature, the double tap feature, and the pencil is extremely, extremely responsive. But another really cool thing that they have now is a barrel roll. And you're probably thinking, really, come on, that's a gimmick. No, it's actually not, even for everyday stuff. And if you're doing calligraphy, for example, you can select the fountain pen, and the fountain pen kind of showcases this really, really nice. You can see that the writing actually mimics a fountain pen, a real life fountain pen, and it's beautiful. I really, really like the pencil. I can't say enough good things about the pencil. If you're on the fence, I think the pencil's worth it. It's a little pricey, but it is worth it. Now, the next thing that I got is the keyboard. And again, as I understand it, because first time using an iPad, the keyboard has been redesigned. And I guess before, the backlight or the backlit keys wasn't too great, and the keyboard was kind of a little funky as far as the buttons are concerned. It was a little, the word that I kept seeing being circulated on the internet was a little mushy. The keyboard itself feels great. I love the trackpad. I don't know what the last trackpad felt like, but with my Surface, the trackpad was really tiny. It was super annoying. I would miss it all the time. I mean, you could fill the whole thing up with like two fingers. This trackpad feels a lot like my laptop's trackpad. And honestly, my first impressions of the keyboard is it feels exactly like a laptop now. I mean, there really is no difference. They really bridged the gap there. So well done, Apple. The keyboard's fantastic. And they also added the function keys at the very top, if you're curious, which I find myself using all the time. I'll, put the volume up or the brightness down or whatever. So great job with the keyboard, Apple. Now, obviously, the thing that we're here for, the iPad itself, is high quality. It feels fantastic. It's super, super thin. It's ridiculously thin. I feel like I'm going to break it, but I also don't feel like I'm going to break it. I know with like the iPhone 15, there's a lot of people that were able to bend it, snap it in half. Apple supposedly has reinforced the new iPad, and it does feel great. It doesn't feel flimsy. It doesn't feel like I'm going to break it at all. I really love how thin and light it is when you're using it as a standalone. So again, for entertainment factors, I completely get it. If you want to chill and watch a movie or surf the web or whatever, makes a lot of sense. And finally, the OLED screen is absolutely beautiful. Again, it was exactly what I was hoping for. The blacks are black and rich. It's plenty bright. They basically stacked two OLED screens together to achieve that brightness. I mean, they did a fantastic job with the build quality, the design of the iPad itself. The other thing that I wanted to mention briefly is when I compare this to my laptop. So obviously, when I have the laptop and just the iPad together, there's no comparison. I mean, the size difference, the thickness itself, there's a mild difference between the two. But when you put the keyboard on here, that's when the gap kind of gets interesting, because it's not that much smaller, thinner than my MacBook Pro. And that kind of leads me to kind of feel like, if this thing can't do the stuff that I wanted to do, why did I buy it? So ultimately, I do have buyer's remorse, and those are the reasons why, and I'm on the fence if I should return it or hang on to it and hope that Apple real soon announces some big changes to their OS. What do you guys think? Should I return this thing, just get an error, or stick with my MacBook Pro? That's it for me, guys. I hope you found this video informative, and if you did, please consider subscribing and joining our channel membership so I can continue making videos like this one. Take care, everybody.